Hello and welcome back to the Blobber Plays Escape from Ever After. We are trying to catch up to Mr. Moon, who has retreated to his own book, having spent last episode doing side quests. That looks like we can collect it. There appears to be all sorts of collectible fruit and vegetables. It's locked. You think there's only one gem here? Well, that doesn't make sense, because I've got the last gem on the list, right? I've got gem 70. But we got access to this after the end of the previous zone. So there shouldn't be a, there shouldn't be any in here if your theory about them being in the correct order is right. Dear Diary, the mysterious void continues to creep over our humble hamlet. Today it swallowed an entire home, gone as if it had never been. Everything is fading away, and I cannot help but wonder why. Side quest ones could come like... No, Welly. I have the literal last one. Nothing can come after it. And those ones were presumably... Oh, I guess if you mean that the ones we got from side quests came last. Yeah, so I haven't been paying attention what order we grabbed them. That's true. I'm assuming there that the ones that we got in Iceland correspond to the last three, but I don't know that for sure. Yeah, okay, that's true. Everything is fading away and I cannot help but wonder why. Still, I'm trying my best to carry on, and despite all this, that darned mouse is still bugging me. Let you rephrase that. You know that at least one is here, and you believe only one is here. It stole my cheese and took it into the mouse hole. Ho 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 ho, I'm too clever though. As soon as the mouse scurries inside, I sealed it in with the bookshelf. I broke my back pushing it, but what a triumph. So... release Mr. Mouse? And then he goes across to here? Which lets us up on the roof here? That's the only thing I can see this doing. No, come back! Okay, too soon. Boing. A key to open the gate. There's a combination lock on the door. No, I don't know the code, and I'm not going to start brute forcing that. Although, this might be a clue. Its hands no longer move, but they still point the way. The password is frozen in time. Well, if we find a clock, then we'll know what to do. Help yourself to my carrots and tomatoes. It's a carrot. Okay. How is that help me? Presumably we need a carrot for something. Just wait for harvest season? Was there a clock in here that I didn't notice? No. Is there a clock upstairs that I didn't notice? Oh, that's clever. No. Until I explicitly ask chat, no spoilers, please, Deadly Son. Okay, no clock here either. There is a redeem for that, but it's nice and expensive, so chat, don't spoil games for me, mostly. No. No, you're doing the good thing. I think asking is the good thing. We can't see a clock. Can we burn away the blackness with our fire? Can we blow away the blackness with wind? Also no. I was thinking maybe there's a grandfather clock hidden behind there that we can get rid of the blackness for? We might be able to light the fire in there. That might do something. No. We could also maybe light these. Alas, nothing. And there wasn't any other space before this, right? It was just the teleporter. Yes. You're 99% sure that Teddy is the final boss? I thought you wanted it to be Mr. Moon. Is there a clock tower that I can't see? No, I don't see a clock tower either. There's one available for the PlayStation 1. Thankfully, it's frozen in time and so unable to hurt me. There's no plants to ride across. I can't see a clock over there either. Does the book give me a new hint now that I've solved the mouse puzzle? No. Can we light this? Yes, but to no obvious use. I mean, this to me reads like we're meant to find a clock and look at the direction the clock hands face. And that's either the password for this or the thing on the floor outside. But maybe the further clues just aren't here, and we were told to find stuff in the overworld. So let's go back to the overworld. Is there a clock somewhere here? Here? Except the clock very noticeably has 8 hours. It's a very odd clock. Maybe it measures the 8 hours of the workday. At least it isn't using metric time. Is there a clock in his office? No. And I don't remember there being a clock anywhere else. We do have the ability to punch here now that we didn't before. No, that's actively bad. That's what I need you to do. But how do we get up there? Do we put out the torch? Do we put out this torch? I need to press the blue button, so... Okay. Ink. And another Ember Stone. So we can go make a Combino one again. Cheers through here. Hello. I would like to forge a new one. Yes, please. So who am I going to give it to? He's pure defense. You're basically pure bard. You are our mixed one. I guess I should give it to you. So we lose health boost, poison immunity, synergy thing, multi-attack, and we're still not there. Dragon skin. Then I'm allowed to have it. Attack and defense. And then you... I guess she can have the other spare regen? And... why not a poison immunity? And where's the fire immunity that we just gave up? Sure. Okay, so we've saved 1 badge point. But I still don't know where we find the clock. We're finally rich enough to get this. The last defense boosting one. Which in theory we should give to Wolfgang. But we could just make the bear literally invulnerable. Give him double defense thing instead of being spiky. No, I kind of like you as you are. But yeah, I don't know. We can look around the world for any other frozen clocks. But I don't remember any. Ooh. There might be a clock in our dungeon. Here? That a clock appears to be broken. Just grow our synergy. And become Flint. Grow our synergy. Weaken egg. Okay, so... the trouble is this is moving. And this is hardly frozen in time, right? This could be anywhere between 4 o'clock and 4:15? Well, one nice thing, Welly, is it's kind of a setting where they could do DLC, where each DLC could be like an extra book that you go to. Conceivably, like it feels to me like that would be a reasonable-ish thing. Like they could basically add an extra chapter as a DLC, and again. Go into all other sorts of stories. I mean, you just have it be side stories that you do it Fallout 3 style, where, oh look, your save is just before stopping the reactor. And then you do everything just before that. I don't think there's any other clocks. There are some loose files here. Oh, this lets you fill in your Pokédex for any bosses that you didn't Pokédex fully? Because otherwise they'd be lost forever to time? Okay. Hmm. No, not especially, Deadly Son. We're trying to find more clocks in the world. There is a clock in our starting... Oh my god, yes. There is a clock in the, in our starting dungeon, but it wiggles around. That's the only thing that I have seen that even seems... Well, there's also these clocks, but these clocks just seem wrong. Right? Because it's like, the clock has 8 hours, which is just... Upon closer inspection, it isn't a clock, but something pretending to be a clock. Have we discovered where to input the puzzle? In the wall... the wall door. Which presumably is the other side of that door. And that will then let us grab that turnip. I don't know why we want a turnip. Right, this thing says... Its hands no longer move, but they still point the way. The password is frozen in time, and to me that says find a clock. There is the clocks in the office, which read as question mark 4 o'clock. So 400. No. We said they could be anything between 4 o'clock and 4:15, so I don't mind brute forcing only 15, but I don't think it's either of those clocks. Oh, it increments 1, so this is a 1000 brute force thing. 4, 0, 2, 4, 0, 3, 4, 0, 4, 4, 0, 5, 4, 0, 6, 4, 0, 7, 4, 0... No! I want 408. We're only checking up to 415, Deadly Son. Because those are the times... The things that are reasonable to claim that the clock that wiggles around in the dungeon... 7... could be trying to show us as a stuck clock. 408... 4... 09... 4... 0... Now is 1... 0... 4... 1... 1... 4... 1... 2... 4... 1, 3, 4, 1, 4, and 4, 1, 5. Yeah, okay. So no, it's not any of those clock times. And there's no clock visible here. We've explored the house. There's no clock in here. There's no clock in here. There's no indication of times in there. I'm not allowed to move the bookshelf again. So it's 0 to 9? No, Welly. The code is... Oh, as in the numbers? Yes, but it's 3 0 to 9s. And we can't possess mouse, just mushroom. We cannot become mouse. Mouse only ever becomes springboard. Mouse and kitty cat becomes springboard for getting up into high places. Extra agile. It wasn't cheese? Okay, that thing wasn't cheese, it was boots. Does that mean we can do the other side? Wedge of cheese. The boot isn't actually something? Can we equip the boots? No. What if we become Sherlock Holmes version of us? Can we maybe see where people used to be walking? No. The boot is a trinket? Oh, it's that one that I've ignored. Yeah, no. We haven't bought that before. We've been offered that before and I've just ignored it. Is there a hole in the wall in the upstairs that I didn't notice? I am allowed to throw our shield through it, though. Let's blow all these out at the same time. Nope. What if we stamp you? Also no. Are you alright if you ask questions? I'd rather struggle for a bit. No, I'd rather struggle for a bit, Welly. The number of these suspiciously matches the number of those things. Can we grow these? Okay, so we need to set fire to this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one? So bottom row diagonally up. You can put a timeout on him? Is it going to go away if I walk away? Conveniently not. I mean, they didn't look like interactable plants to me. They look no more interactable than these bushes. But anyway, we set fire to you, and you, and you, and you. They look the same as the ones in the Wolf Town? Like 9 hours ago? 12 hours ago? No. Like, these aren't interactable plants. The grass there isn't interactable. I don't see why these would be obviously interactable. The only thing that I rigorously think of as interactable for the plants are the ones that are the start of the staircases. Sure, but that doesn't mean that this sign is a... To me, this just says, I have tomatoes, and I have carrots. Right? Well, over there is a thing that is vaguely tomato-ish that me might want, and we already grabbed a carrot. Right? So maybe that's just saying those are the things that I want. Anyway. Form of a seal. We cannot get off on the button. Here is the clock. Yeah, so this was poor design. Can you see this at all from the other side? No. You have no way of telling that is a clock from here. And the fact that at the start it had told us to look for clues around the office made me think that the office clocks were the clock that we're looking for. Not something in here that we can't see yet. I don't like that. Anyway, it's, this one is a proper clock, not an 8-hour one. This one is 4:30. You should have let me keep brute forcing from 400. That would have actually been quicker. Right, because we were going from 4-0. That would have only been 15 more brute forces. We would have been done by now, Decoy. We would have. For some reason, the makers of this game are obsessed with 4 o'clock and 4 o'clock related times. Form of a seal. Is this a sign? The village gate will open once the farmer's market is ready to begin. This lets us get onto the button island. Teddy bear. Which is just a link back point. How does that help me? Why do I want to be here? Ah, to trap Mr. Mousy. Or to free Mr. Mousy? Probably to trap Mr. Mousy. The bridge was to bring the mouse over here, not just be a link back point. Could be. Because we needed the pumpkin... We needed the mouse to get up here to get the pumpkin for the farmer's market. Fish! The fish of the day is trout a la creme. Fish! Mousy cannot swim, Solano. It is imperative... Oh no, it's an Einstein ordering problem. It's imperative that the carrot is left of the pumpkin. Notepad. Carrot left of pumpkin. One space between bread and carrot. Bread not at edge. Cheese next to bread. But we need more rules. Ah, good. We need at least 6 rules, because we've got 6 things. Beat between cheese and pumpkin. Beat not next to bread. Now we have 6 rules. We should be able to solve this. Fish is on one end. In fact, I think we're over-constrained. We have 7 rules for 6 things. Okay. Okay, let's start. Trying. Fish is on left-hand edge. Fish is on one edge. Carrot must be left of pumpkin. Sure. Is there anything that stops the pumpkin from being on the right-hand edge? Not that I can tell, so let's try pumpkin on the right-hand edge. The Last Supper of Mr. Moon, and then he's being betrayed by Judas. Fetch me my 20 silver coins. The next thing was the one space constraint. Bread and carrot need to be one space apart. Presumably he's Judas, Welly, but we don't... Yeah, bread could be here. And then carrot has to be here. Carrot is left of pumpkin, check. One space between bread and carrot, check. Cheese is next to bread, check. But currently, beet is not between cheese and pumpkin. So these 3 need to move one to the left, and then beet goes here. I think we're okay? Check our rules. Carrot is left of pumpkin, check. One space between bread and carrot, check. Bread is not at the edge, check. Cheese is next to bread, check. Beet is between cheese and pumpkin, check. But beet needs to be not next to bread. I don't know that that's possible. Because this and this need one space. I guess fish could go at the right-hand edge. If fish is at the right-hand edge instead of the left-hand edge... No, that doesn't fix my problem. Sega Superstars Tennis? Well, the kart racer was pretty good. So currently our problem is these two are touching. So either I want to move you to the right... but beet needs to be left of pumpkin, or I need these to move left. Harry Potter for the GameCube? No, I don't see that working. One space between bread and carrot. Beet not next to bread. Cheese, beet, pumpkin. Pepsi Man, it is a sellout game. We've got an ordering puzzle, Apana. We have 6 rules, well actually 7, to place these 6 items in a line. The rules are, carrot must be left of pumpkin, there must be 1 space between bread and carrot, bread is not at the edge, cheese must be next to bread, beet and cheese... Oh, sorry, beet must be between cheese and pumpkin, beet not next to bread, and fish is on one edge. Those are our rules. Currently, we're obeying every rule except that the beet and the bread are touching. And I'm trying to work out what we can fiddle to get that to not be so. Well, let's try working from the other end. What if we put fish on the right-hand edge? So check. Fish is on one edge. The next largest thing is probably pumpkin, because it's the only thing that we know needs to be on the right of almost everything. Carrot needs to be left of pumpkin. So carrot could go here. 1 space between bread and carrot, so bread could go here. Beet between cheese and pumpkin. No, because this still puts beet next to bread. Beet next to bread is forever being our problem. What if we put carrot here? Carrot is left of pumpkin. And then bread needs to go here. So fish is on one end, check. Carrot is left of pumpkin, check. But this violates bread not at edge. Which is not allowed. Bread has to not be at edge. But then how do I maintain space between bread and carrot? That's the only thing that works for that. Bread is not at edge. Space between bread and carrot. Carrot is left of pumpkin. Beet between cheese and pumpkin. So cheese can go on the left. And then beet here. What are we violating? Carrot is left of pumpkin, check. One space between bread and carrot, check. Bread is not at edge, check. Cheese is next to bread, check. Beet is between cheese and pumpkin, check. Once again, we are foiled by beet next to bread. Fish is on one end, check. Well, what if carrot is all the way on the left? Then bread is here. But now we're hitting up against the bread must not be next to beet problem again. Fish is on an edge. Pumpkin needs to be as right as possible as far as we can tell. And then our options are here, here, or here, here. For carrot and bread. But either way, that doesn't work. Because if this is true, then this would need to be beet, and this would need to be the cheese. What's violated here? Carrot is left of pumpkin, check. There is one space between bread and carrot, check. Bread is not at the edge, check. Cheese is next to bread, check. Beet is not between cheese and pumpkin. Beet is successfully not next to bread, and fish is on the edge. So our current issue is you need to be between that and that. But I can't rearrange you to this edge, because then the beet will be next to the bread, which is not allowed. You need to be between these two. But without touching that. Fish is looking up at the ceiling with its dead eye. It is. Could we move both of these pairs one? Like, could pumpkin move to left and this thing pair move to right? Well, let's start at the other constraint. So the one that's currently sticking us up is beet between cheese and pumpkin. So now we have beet and pumpkin. Cheese could be any of these. Beet needs to not be left of bread. Or not touching bread, sorry. And bread and carrot need a space. So this makes the most sense to be carrot, and then you make the most sense to be bread, and then you can be cheese. Is that everything met? Fish is on the edge. Check. Beet is not next to bread. Check. Beet is between... No, it isn't between cheese and pumpkin. How did I screw that up when that was the first thing I was supposedly doing? So it was cheese. And then any of these can be beet. Yeah, I said it the wrong way around? Okay. Well, then at least I was consistent. Beet between cheese and pumpkin is the rule. So we've put them as far apart as possible. So beet can go in any of these. But now we're hitting up against beet can't be next to bread, and bread and carrot need a space. Well, there's nothing saying you have to be maximally to the right. I've just been treating you as if you do. Let's go, but bread isn't allowed to be at the edge. I wanted to put bread here, but that's not allowed. Bread, carrot. One space. Next. Beet not next to bread. Would require beet here. But then beet isn't between cheese and pumpkin. So this isn't valid placement for bread and carrot. Sure of that? Are there any other options? Beet can be here. If beet is here, then beet cannot be between cheese and pumpkin. If beet is here, it violates touching the bread, and the same with that. So this setup for bread and carrot cannot work. Meaning the only other setup for bread and carrot is here, or with their order reversed. Now in this setup, for beet not to be touching bread, beet can only go here. But then beet cannot be between cheese and pumpkin. So this is also not acceptable. Which suggests that maybe fish needs to be on the other end. So we start from this case. Fish is on this end. Now there are... We can have bread and carrot here. Carrot being left of pumpkin means that could only be pumpkin. Beet is between cheese and pumpkin. So this is cheese and this is beet. What is violated? Carrot is left of pumpkin. Check. Bread is not at the edge. Check. Cheese is not next to bread. Yeah, this violates cheese next to bread. Well, then that just must not be the correct place for bread and carrot. It can be the other way around. It can be carrot bread. And we can try. So now in this case, this doesn't work because carrot's never left of pumpkin in this setup. So that's fine. Next we have this pair, which can either be bread carrot or carrot bread. For here we want what? Cheese needs to either go here or here. But if I do that, beet can never be between cheese and pumpkin. no matter what. Okay, so what about the other way around? What about bread, carrot? Now this never works because beet is on the wrong side of this. And then haven't I just tried all the options? Because the only other option is bread at the edge. Well, I suppose actually you can have carrot bread. That has part of the bread thing at the edge, but only part. But now beet is never not next to bread. Well, I guess I start writing down every single option and working out which one is valid by testing all the rules against it. Is the answer, which is stupid, but... So, how are we going to create a symbology for this? C equals carrot. P equals pumpkin. B equals... BR equals bread. BE equals beet. CH equals cheese. F equals fish. Then, your options. Let's arrange them in alphabetical order and start brute forcing. Oof. I've chosen to ignore the suggestions, because that's not me solving it in any case. I've got all the things written down in alphabetical order, and now we are just going to test them all. So, BE, BR, C, CH, FP. And then how are we going to iterate them? So what's our rules for iterating them going to be? It's going to be... change the one to the right first. Go make some food? Yeah, you can go make some food. See you, deadly son. Paste, 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 paste. It's not matrix math, Salah. Please stop trying to make everything matrix math when it's not. This is absolutely not matrices. It isn't vector math. It's... like, this isn't being vector math either. At the moment, this is. Could I convert it into being vectors? I don't think I could convert these into being vectors. Yeah, it's iterating over all possible solutions for now, which is annoying, but there's no other, like. We've tried logicking it out, and it's hit a dead end every time. Like, a lot of the puzzles that you encounter in these games are matrix puzzles, right? But this is not one. So how am I changing you? Yes, Vama made the glorious, where are we? This. Made the glorious. Where is Nancy Drew and the secret of. Secret of vector math? Here. Nancy Drew and the secret of the inverse matrix. Excellent art made by Voma. When we were matrixing out uh, an actual matrix math problem in the Mayan Aztec one. In Nancy Drew and the Scarlet Hand, pretty sure. Now, the seating chart? No, the things that you spun. You spun cogs. There were two separate halves of something that you needed to control. Um, there were three buttons on one half of the map and three buttons on the other end of the map, and you had to. Every time you pressed a button, it rotated. It essentially rotated a certain combination of cogs around, and you had to get all the cogs to be in a certain position functionally. It was not a seating. This thing is a seating chart. This problem is a seating chart problem. Um, no, the other one was just a linear get all the reals to line up type problem. Anyway, so flip the last two. Flip you. Flip both of those. Not as far as I'm aware, Freiheits. So we've moved. P has moved up one. P has moved off one, and we've flipped both options. P can move up again, and we flip both options. Go there. And then you go there. Actually, this would be easier if I just converted them to numbers rather than letters. Because it's hard for me to think about their ordering that way. I'm going to be double converting them. One, two, three, 5, 6, 4. 1, 2, 3. The Matrix math started in Seventh Guest, where we made a big Matrix math solution to a one of the push button tile puzzles. So normally you push a button and it flips all the tiles that are next to it. This was even worse than that because it had 3 settings for every tile. So it was a 4x3 3-button tile press puzzle, but it had 3 settings per tile piece. And you had to get the whole thing to change to a single color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 4. 1, 2, 3, 6, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4. 2, and now we're up to the next one. One, two, 4, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 4. 5, 3, 6. 1, 2, 4. 3, 6, 5. Actually, you should probably go there. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 3. So I've did the ones that start with 3 next. We've done the ones that start with 5 next. We need the ones that start with 6. 1, 2, 4, 6, 3, 5. 1, 2, 4, 6, 5, 3. 3, 5, 6. Yes, that's all of those. Then we're on to the next number. 1, 2, 5, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 5, 4, 3, 6. 1, 2, 5, 3, 6, 4. 1, 2, 5, 4, 6, 3. Night, Apana. Sleep well. 1, 2, 5. We've done 3, we've done 4. We need to do the ones that start with 6. 6, 3, 4. 1, 2, 5. 6, 4, 3. Check. to the next one. So we're up to 1, 2, 6, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 6, 3, 5, 4. 1, 2, 6, 4, 3, 5. 1, 2, 6, 4, 5, 3. 1, 2, 6, 5, 3, 4. 1, 2, 6, 5, 4, 3. Done. So we've done 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5. Now we're up to the next number, which is iterate 1, 3. 2, 4, 5, 6. 1, 3. 2, 4, 6, 5. 1, 3. 2, 5, 4, 6. 1, 3. 2, 5, 6, 4. 1, 3. 2, 6, 4, 5. 1, 3. 2, 6, 5, 4. So now I've done 1, 3, 2. We now do 1, 3, 4. 2, 5, 6. 1, 3, 4. 2, 6, 5. 1, 3, 4. 5, 3, 6. No, 5. 1, 3, 4. 5. 2, 6. 1, 3, 4. 5, 6, 2. 1, 3. 4, 6. 2, 5. 1, 3, 4. 6, 5, 2. And that's all the options with 4. One, 3, 5. 2, 4, 6. 1, 3, 5. 2, 6, 4. 1, 3, 5. 4, 2, 6. 1, 3, 5. 4, 6, 2. 1, 3, 5, 6, 2, 4. 1, 3, 5. 6, 4, 2. So I've done the 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 5. We're up to 3, 6. 1, 3, 6. 2, 4, 5. 1, 3, 6. 2, 5, 4. 1, 3, 6. 4, 2, 5. 1, 3, 6. 4, 5, 2. 1, 3, 6. 5, 2. 1, 3, 6. We're up to the 4s. We just did 4, 5, 2. 3, 6. No, we're up to 5 now. 1, 3, 6, 5, 2, 4. 1, 3, 6, 5, 4, 2. So we've iterated over all the 6 options? Yes, we've operated over all the 6 options. The next one to iterate over is the next major number. Holy moly, this space is... This search space is a lot bigger than I thought it was. Brute forcing looks less and less reasonable. I've done 64. And that's only... That's only... a third of the way through the options for one of the starting digits. So it's like 64 times 3 times 6. That's too big. That's too big for me to want to write them all out and test that way. Well, the other option is you turn this into a stupid tick box chart, which I dislike doing it that way, but we can do it with a tick box chart. So, how is this best shown on stream? Inkscape. Actually, it's probably best shown with Excel, which is to say Google Sheets. You're about to ask? About to ask what? So how do we show that? We will go over to our movie rating thing. Game rating. Here. Except that we're not rating Who Raised Roger Rabbit. Alright. So you can turn these things into a big grid thing. Where it's... How do you do both at once? It's... And then our things were beetroot, bread, carrot, cheese, fish, and pumpkin. But my memory is you need 2 of these. Tool-assisted puzzle solving. I mean, I note things down in Notepad all the time, Rolling Ninja. It's the same as using Notepad. I have no issue with it. If you've got an issue with it, then you go somewhere else. That easy. What's the other thing? Because normally these are like doubles. Normally these are mirrored things, and then you can tick off two. Hmm. To myself. It's not what I'm looking for. That is. But isn't that just going to be showing the whole space if I do it like that? I think that's just going to be showing the whole space if I show it like that. Oh, maybe it isn't. Let's try adding this stuff in. What would Chat GPT say if you put in the rules? Uh, well, here are your rules. Ah, need to put in semicolons. There are your rules. Sort a carrot, a pumpkin, fish, cheese, bread, and beet according to these rules. So, what rules? How can we start shrinking this space down? Well, the first one is that the fish is on one end, right? So fish cannot go in 2, 3, 4, or 5. It must be in 1 or 6. So we're only going to kill off stuff that we know can't be true. We know that bread isn't at the edge. Actually, let's put our rules down in here as well. So, rules. Okay. So, that, next. Bread is not at the edge. Bread literally cannot be there or there. X equals not. Circle equals yes. Next. Carrot must be left of pumpkin. At the very least, this means carrot cannot be the very rightmost square, because then it wouldn't be left of pumpkin. Yeah, that's true so far. There's one space between bread and carrot. That currently doesn't constrain carrot, nor does it constrain bread. Because bread can be any of these four, and then carrot can be anywhere, except here. That doesn't constrain anything. Bread not at edge. Used. Cheese is next to bread. That currently doesn't constrain cheese. Beet is between cheese and pumpkin. That means that beet cannot be on the very left or the very right. If it's on the very left, it wouldn't be between cheese and pumpkin if it's in either of those squares. Beet is not next to bread. It currently doesn't do anything. And fish is on one end. That's still true. Fish can be on either end. And then we loop through again. Carrot is left of pumpkin. Pumpkin can still be anywhere. No. Carrot is left of pumpkin also means pumpkin can't be very left. Because then carrot wouldn't be left of it. That also means cheese can't be very left by this one, because beet is between cheese... Oh no, that does work. Beet is between cheese and pumpkin. But it means that... It definitely means pumpkin can't be here either. Right. No, I want to be sure of that. No, but there's something about a triple space that we can probably use. Beet is between cheese and pumpkin. So beet's obviously not at the edge. Cheese can still be either edge and pumpkin can still be either edge, as far as we're concerned. There's also an alternating exclusion with fish. But we can't mark it down. We just know that fish isn't the middle four. We don't know which of the two sides it is yet. It could be 1 or it could be 6. So we run through our rules again and try and get another thing out. Carrot left of pumpkin. Means carrot can't be in 6 and pumpkin cannot be in 1. Bread not at edge. Bread not 1 or 6. Beet is between cheese and pumpkin. Beet not 1 or 6, because otherwise it can't be between the two of them. No, because between can go the other direction, right? Yeah, no, so that is true. That's true regardless. But then the between can go in either direction is the trouble with trying to constrain that down more. Ah, ah. Carrot not 6, check. Pumpkin not 1, check. Bread not 1 or 6, check. Beet not 1 or 6, check. One space between bread and carrot. Cheese next to bread. Beet not next to bread. Fish on one end. Equals fish not 2, 3, 4, 5. Hell, we can even color them in a little bit. Why not? So that it's clear what rule is producing what thing. That's a bit too dark. Pink? Pink is okay. Alright. And this is position. Come on, I want Control E, please. Center there? Center there seems right. What else? What else can we glean out of this? None. I don't think we can construct. We can get any more rules out of this. Not like strict rules. There's also some ambiguity here. Like, does between is between used in a strict ordering sense? Does this rule beat between cheese and pumpkin mean that the order literally has to go either cheese, beet, pumpkin? No, sorry, wrong way around. Cheese, beet, pumpkin. That's correct. Or can there be more space between those things? That's unclear from the way this is worded. And we've had problems with this sort of ordering thing before where it thinks that between means constrained between rather than allowing space between. And that they therefore think that the rule they're giving you is like a tighter constraint than it is on a surface level reading. Because they just take the between to mean strictly squished together kind of between, not allowing space between. Are there any sub rules that constrain it to give us an idea if it's one or greater? We could double check that there aren't any other rules that I've missed. I don't think we have. We can run around to see if I've missed any rules. But I think those were all the rules. Carrot left of pumpkin. This one is actually polite enough in here to make clear that it's somewhere left but not directly left. Bread and carrot have one space. So those two rules are correct. Bread, not on the edge. Cheese, next to bread. That's not got open interpretation. Okay. Here, beet somewhere between cheese and pumpkin. That implies that it is the open type of constraint and not the strict ordering constraint. Beet between cheese and pumpkin. Non-strict. And beet not next to bread. And fish is at one end. I don't think we've missed any other rules. Or if so, they're nowhere near here. What is the age recommendation? No idea. Back to this. Cheese next to bread means it's a block of 2 items. Sure. Cheese next to bread means it's a block of 2 items. Can we use that? Maybe? It's 12 because of the rum we give the pirates. Ah, it has alcohol references, so it's age 12 minimum recommendation. Fair enough. At least in Germany. Yeah, I don't see another, oh, ours are pretty strict as well. Insane thing. No depictions of drug use, etc., etc. They're pretty stringent here. Hmm. What is the logic step I'm missing? Seeing comic pirates drink rum is more dangerous than killing videos on TikTok? Well, kids aren't allowed on TikTok is the simple answer, Freiheitskämpfer. That's covered by our social media laws. No kids on Facebook, no kids on TikTok, no kids on Reddit. One space between bread and carrot. Yeah, I think France is doing it as well. That France has picked up where we've left off in the idea of maybe censoring, well, banning kids from stuff. Cheese can be all of those, because bread can be all of those. Okay, I've discovered the thing that I was missing. Beet being between cheese and pumpkin. No, no, I haven't. I was thinking that's given me an extra constraint on cheese and pumpkin that it hasn't. Yeah, I don't see how you tighten this down more with the logic. Like, I think you have to start brute forcing from here. Um, it's not that sort of formula, Try Heights. You're trying to convert these into rules that let you say they aren't in a set square, and when these puzzles are designed properly, you can keep eliminating things um, until only the possible remains. That's how, when these puzzles are properly designed, these sort of logical exclusion puzzles, you can keep chaining the rules again and again and again and again to generate more and more of these X's. Like if we had one more rule about fish, then we could prove, for example, that fish is definitely, say fish is definitely here. If we knew that fish wasn't there, we would know that fish is definitely here, and we could generate extra X's here because we knew that. We tried that insane thing, but there are like we started brute listing them, and there's like 64 times 3 times 6 options, which was too much to want to brute list. So I came into doing this kind of approach, but this kind of approach is also seemingly getting stuck. Didn't it say at least one item? Sure, I'll go back to the game. But I think it said exactly one. The wording is there should be exactly one item between bread and carrot. No, my rule is correct. It's 6-6, isn't it? You can't have... I don't think it's 6-6 because you can't have repeats, right? You can't have 6-6-6-6-6-6. You must only use the numbers 1 to 6 once each. Maybe you can construct an extra rule between this and this one, that there is one space between bread and carrot, and that cheese is next to bread, and that beet is not next to bread. Like, these three must combine in some way to make some other rule. So you can either have bread, question mark carrot or carrot question mark bread. Every bread position excludes two positions from beat. It does, but because we don't yet know if bread... Like, that would only be useful if we knew where bread was at the moment. If bread can currently be in 2, 3, 4, or 5, so it doesn't help us say where beat isn't. Could you merd bread and cheese together and make one table for bread and cheese and one for bread and cheese? Could you merge bread and cheese together? I don't see how that would help, but I think you can do that. Yeah, I think you can do that, but I don't see why that would help. Sure, we'll try your idea. Why not? We can test out that. It's better than flailing around doing nothing. So, no, because then you're not moving things by integer amounts. Like that works if you're thinking of as a sorted list rather than positionally. That's not elegant to do. No. Hmm. Read the rules again. Carrot is left of pumpkin. So carrot can't be on the very right, and pumpkin can't be on the very left. Yes. One space between bread and carrot. Currently, that doesn't tell us anything because carrot can be anywhere except 6, and bread can be anywhere except 1 and 6. But they can still be the other pairs of in the middle and in any order. Bread is not at the edge. Yes, that's all that you're going to get from that rule. Cheese is next to bread. That currently tells us nothing. Beet is between cheese and pumpkin. Cheese can be anywhere, so that's not helpful. But that does tell us beet can't be at the very start or the very end, which we've already included. Beet is not next to bread. We have no way of converting that into a not position. And fish is on one end, which means fish isn't in the middle for. Sure. Yeah, I don't see how you get tighter than this from these. Could you just assume some things and fill it out as if it were true? I mean, we can use this to have reduced our search space. Like, we could just start writing out all the remaining combinations, but now that we know that it's not these ones, it drastically reduces it because we're down to 2 positions for starting fish. Like, we could start. But these are supposed to be designed so that you can convert these into another not rule. Into another where something isn't. And I must just not be interpreting one of these properly. Well, if we just use the fish rule, we can start listing them more elegantly. So, like, of the remaining options, either this or this or this. So either fish is in 1 or fish is in 6. In which case it isn't there and it isn't there. But even if we do that, there's still like way too many options. You would start with the assumptions on the rules that aren't currently used. And we constrain further. Well, I guess we can keep branching here. We can branch this one, because there's only 2 more remaining options. Either carrot is in position 1 or cheese is in position 1. But nothing else can be. How are we going to do that? How do we do that? Thing is, this is getting way too long. Uh, and I guess we will do that by marking these to the side like this. Those are all one concept. And let's assume cheese 1, or assume carrot 1. Now, in the one we know where the carrot is, there's one space between bread and carrot. So if carrot is here, then bread must be there. And then of the remaining options for these, if bread is there, then beet is not next to bread. So beet is not 4 or 2. Cheese is next to bread. So cheese isn't 5. And that means that beet must be 5, because it cannot be anywhere else. Which kills off you. And then for these two, beet is between cheese and pumpkin. No. So this branch now dies. This dies. Carrot cannot be in one. The directionality of the cheese bread pair is important. You've already forgotten the order of rules you used to come to your solution. If there is such an actual, like... I am interested in that, if there is, once I've gotten my answer, a more proper, non-brute forcey way of doing it. Using the actual rules properly. So anyway, we've said that this is just this doesn't work, because it ends up violating the beet between cheese and pumpkin option. You're not going to be able to... Yeah, well then, I'm glad you've got your answer, but it's no use for what I'm after, which is ruling it out. You must always remember the first rule of Squeakross. No intuition, only rules. And so this doesn't work. So now we're left with assuming cheese is in one. And if cheese is in one, we know that what? Cheese is next to bread, so bread must be 2. If bread is 2, nothing else is 2. And if we know bread is 2, and there's a space between bread and carrot of 1, carrot must be 4. The first rule of autism is that you can't explain anything. And now of the remaining things, we have beet, carrot obviously isn't there if it's here. You obviously aren't here if you're there. We get to choose between pumpkin here or pumpkin here or beet here or beet here. Beet is not next to bread. And bread is here, so beet cannot be here. Which says that beet is here. Which then says that pumpkin is here. Does this violate the other rules? So this ends up being the order cheese, bread, pumpkin, carrot, beet, fish. This one ended up being carrot. It didn't matter because we already said it broke the other rule. What breaks the rules about this one? Carrot is left of pumpkin. Okay, that breaks that one. Carrot is not left of pumpkin in this universe. So, fish on the right seems to have no solution. So next we get to break you into alternative options. So how do we break you down into more? We say there's only 2 options for slot 6. It can be pumpkin or cheese. So in this universe, so either assume pumpkin 6 or assume cheese 6. Alright, now for these. Assume pumpkin 6. So pumpkin is here, it isn't in 6. which means pumpkin isn't in any of these locations. We have that space, and for you, assume cheese is in 6. Cheese is here. Cheese isn't in any of those locations. You've got fresh beets. Yes, we're still on this, Deadly Sun. It seems to be it seems to be under-constrained in a strict, easy-to-make logic rules from way. There's probably some logic rule here that I can't express as a simple rule that is forcing me to enumerate the remaining options. Like, we've tried to make a logic grid from it, and that's as far as I can get with the strict rules. Now, for assume pumpkin 6... No, we should do the cheese one first, right? Yeah, we should do the cheese one first, because cheese and bread have strict spacing. So if cheese is here, bread absolutely has to be here. Which means bread isn't in those, and nothing else can be in bread's slot. And then bread spacing to carrot means carrot has to be here. Carrot cannot be... Nothing else can be in that slot, and carrot cannot be anywhere else. Hey, Wick. We essentially have a little bit of a, wives' table arrangement kind of situation, where we have 6 people that must be arranged in a certain order, and we have certain rules about them, except in this case they're beet, bread, carrot, cheese, fish, pumpkin. And the rules are carrot must be left of pumpkin, there must be one space exactly between bread and carrot, bread must not be on the edge, cheese must be directly next to bread, the beet must be between cheese and pumpkin, but there can be more than one space. Beet is not next to bread, and fish is exactly on the edge, though it doesn't tell you which edge. And so you can convert these rules into logical expressions, like if carrot is left of pumpkin, then logically carrot cannot be on the exact right. And pumpkin cannot be on the exact left, because if pumpkin is on the exact left, carrot can't be left of it. And if carrot is on the exact right, it can't be left of pumpkin. The way these problems are supposed to be designed, Wick, is that you get enough of these rules that you can chain these out. Like, imagine if we had one more rule about fish, then we could mark down fish isn't here and it is here. And then if it is here, it implicitly means the other things aren't there. And then the information that those aren't there and the remaining rules for those things might let us determine exactly where another thing is. And then you go, like, it chains. Like, if we knew this one, it would kill this. This one killing might prove one of the other two, which then kills that row, and then that kills up and kills sideways and down, and it just keeps repeating until you have the same thing. No, that's not the correct way to design it, Deadly Sun. Because then the rules have to do more than just only allow one... Well, they don't have to. A well-designed one, the rules aren't just they only limit one solution, but it should be solvable by a series of logical steps, not just enumerate all options, check every option complies with the rules, which is what we're currently having to do. There might be some way to interpret this rule plus rules 2, 4, and 6 to generate a statement like this, but I don't know how to... That's not something I'm practiced in doing or is obvious to me at the moment. So instead we're enumerating all the remaining options and trying to find which it is. Yeah, the explicit rules should end up creating implicit rules via logic that directly lead to a single solution. Now, where were we? We were doing this one. We were assuming cheese in 6 inside the assumption of fish is left. And the remaining options are beet in 2, 4, or pumpkin in 2, 4, 6. And our rules are that beet must be between cheese and pumpkin. Cheese is here, so pumpkin must be here. Otherwise, cheese cannot be between... beet cannot be between cheese and pumpkin. And then we write out this order and we test it. So resulting order is fish, pumpkin. This violates carrot is left of pumpkin, so it's not a solution. Fish, pumpkin, carrot, beet, bread, cheese. You mean that's what you meant? That there's only one solution that meets all of the rules? So it doesn't matter if it checks if the rules are met or checks for a specific solution, they're one and the same? But that's not how these are supposed to be designed to be good puzzles, Deadly. Right? You're supposed to be able to solve them in a logical series of steps. And you would hope that the designer's intended method of you solving it isn't enumerate exact list of every possible solution and check each one. It should be a you can chain this logic grid kind of thing. Another puzzle? Yes, another puzzle, Hi-Fi Panda. My trouble with that one was that it wasn't clear to me that you could store the bookshelf that moved left-right between the position of the up-down block and the up-down bookcase. I didn't think that it fit inside that space. Yeah, that's only a rule for fun puzzle. Well, it's only a rule for what I would call reasonable puzzles, Freiheits. So, we're up to checking this one, which presumably now is the correct answer. So, pumpkin 6 of the remaining... Pumpkin 6, fish 0... How do we break this down further now? Well, for this one now, beet can no longer be very left, because cheese... If beet was very left, it wouldn't be between cheese. So that's a new one. That slightly more constrains this. Carrot is left of pumpkin is fine. There's one space between bread and carrot is still fine. Bread is not at the edge is still true. Cheese is next to bread is still true. Beet is between cheese and pumpkin. Pumpkin is fixed, which says that beet can no longer be on that left edge because that could be cheese, but it can't be beet. Beet is not next to bread. And fish is on one end. All these rules are still met for this so far. Cheese can't be 5. Yes, by the reflection of this, because then beet wouldn't be between it and pumpkin. That is true. So now cheese can be 1, 2, or can be 2, 3, 4. But I don't think we can get any more. Fish is on the end. Beet is not next to bread. We don't know where bread is. Beet is between cheese and pumpkin. Hmm. Is this part of Escape from Ever After? Yes, Jake. It has a, when I've finished solving it, Welly, um, we're currently doing a wedding table arrangement kind of problem, Jake. We have 6 objects. The 6 objects need to go in an order, and the rules are the objects are beet, bread, carrot, cheese, fish, pumpkin. The rules are carrot must be left of pumpkin. There must be exactly 1 space between bread and carrot. Bread must not be on the edge. Cheese must be next to bread. Beet must be between cheese and pumpkin, though not necessarily exactly between. As in, you can have more than 1 space. Beet is not next to bread, and fish is on one end. We tried writing it out as a logic grid, but I can only see getting this far, and then there are 3 implicit rules that maybe, like, you can maybe generate an implicit rule from these combinations, but I can't work out an explicit rule to continue the logic chain. So instead we're trying the remaining like we're searching the remaining solution space within this space manually. And we're up to this one, where fish is currently in position 1, pumpkin is in position 6, but we don't know positions 2 to 5. And I don't think the remaining rules tell me explicitly, and now I think I have to break this into multiple try multiple options. They are, Welly. Then they're fine if they are properly designed. If they've designed them so that you can build this grid and systematically eliminate 1 row at a time, and eliminating that row gives you the information that you need to do the next one, and so on and so forth, it's fine. But when you've got these sorts of combinations that don't generate a easy to express hard logic rule, then they get stuck. And then they are bad. Hmm. Yeah, we've already got that down though, Hi-Fi Panda. Beet between cheese and pumpkin just means these 2 x's. That beet cannot be on the very left, and that pumpkin cannot be... Oh, sorry, that cheese cannot be on the very right. Because we already know where pumpkin is, so cheese can't be next to pumpkin and have beet between it. And simultaneously, beet can't be on the left, because then cheese can't be the other side of it relative to the pre-existing position of pumpkin. It means may more. Well, then they should choose to express that more precisely, Hi-Fi Panda. they could write, if it is so, if they intend it to mean that there is a sequence cheese beat pumpkin without spaces, they should say it that way. Rather than it being up to the viewers, the reader's specific interpretation of, is it a exclusive between or an inclusive between? And even that isn't accurate, because if we go read it, I'm pretty sure it explicitly says there can be a space. Where are we? Yeah, the way that it's worded in the game doesn't agree with you, Hi-Fi Panda. So just to smack that down, the beat is somewhere between the cheese and the pumpkin. It isn't literally saying those three are in an exact triplicate set directly next to each other. Okay. So that's smacked down. We can return to this. Like, yeah, the game shouldn't use somewhere there if they mean it to be a strict squished together triplicate. The bread and cheese rule stated directly next to exact other, and the bread and carrot rule said exactly one space. Yes. There is exactly one space between bread and carrot, not there is at least one space between bread and carrot. True insane thing. I agree with both of those. And the bread and carrot rule said exactly one space. Yes. No, I think we just have to. Did it involve remembering the game had a crouch button for poor Welly? It's not a beaver issue. So now we're breaking this one down into more testing options. And how are we going to express that? We're going to express that by you being yellow. How are we going to express that? You blue, then expands to these blue ones. Yeah, that seems logical enough. And then it is this, which we will make pink, which produces these pink ones. Okay. So inside here, we are now further assume. Hmm. The obvious ones to make assumptions about are either here bread or cheese, because you've only got 3 options to pick from, not 4. Or sorry, positions 2, no, beet or cheese, sorry. because bread and carrot can still be all four. To explain how you personally solved this, the insane thing, you started with bread and cheese and just started placing the rest next to each other until all the rules were satisfied. Not that it helps with this method. Yeah, could be that a totally different method works. And Welly even has the logic chain. I'm intrigued. We will further assume. So which do we do? It should be cheese or beet. Cheese is the more reasonable one. Further assume cheese is 2. Or further assume cheese is 3. Or further assume cheese is 4. Hmm. Is it a well-elegant solution? Nice word. Okay. This all needs to be pink. Need another copy of you. Okay. Assume cheese is 2. If cheese is 2, nothing else is 2. If cheese is 2, because of our rules, if cheese is 2, cheese is next to bread, and 1 is filled, so 3 must be bread. If this is bread, nothing else can be in 3, and bread cannot be 4, 5. And then bread and carrot have exactly 1 space, so carrot must be 5. Carrot must be 5. Which means beet is 4. Test that order. So that order is fish, cheese, bread, beet, carrot, pumpkin. Fish is at the edge. Well, no, in order. Carrot is left of pumpkin. Check. There is 1 space between bread and carrot. Check. Bread is not at the edge. Check. Cheese is next to bread. Cheese is next to bread. Check. Beet is between cheese and pumpkin. Check. Beet is not next to bread is violated. This fails. Did I stuff that up? Maybe. Yoink that. Undo until we're back at the start and see if the same thing occurs. Well, actually, that means I should save you as well. So I can check whether the exact same one occurs. Now undo. Yeah, that's where we were. We grab the rules again. Ah! We grab the rules again. We said assume cheese is 2, cheese is here, cheese isn't there and there. Rule says cheese is next to bread. Nothing else can be in 2 if you're there. Bread must be here. Nothing can be there. Nothing can be there. And then carrot needs a space, means carrot must be here, but then that puts beet next to here. Yeah, so this one does break either way. That one can't be it. So next we have assume cheese is 3. Cheese is 3, true. You're off to do some work? See you, Hi-Fi Panda. Have a lovely day. Which means not you, not you, not you. Cheese is next to bread. So bread could be here or here. This might need another breaking down. Bread can only be in 2 here, as 4 violates a beat. Beet can only now be in 4 and 5, and bread cannot be next to beet. Sure, so bread can only be 2 in this universe. I agree with that, that is true. And then of these... Carrot has 1 space between it and bread, so carrot must be here. Which means beet is there. And the resulting order is fish, bread, cheese, carrot. Carrot, beet, pumpkin. Okay, and we test this against all the rules. Carrot is left of pumpkin. Check. There is 1 space between bread and carrot. Check. Bread is not at the edge. Check. Cheese is next to bread. Check. Beet is between cheese and pumpkin. This is also check. Beet is not next to bread. Check. Fish is on the end. This is a viable solution. And let's test what happens if we assume cheese is in 4. Are there more than 1 solutions? So no, no, yes, no, no, no. If cheese is here, bread cannot be there, which means this is only now allowed to be carrot. But then carrot can't be 1 space away from bread. So this one dies at that step, and we can go test our this. Oh. The brute forcing far too much. Here. Here. Okay. Scroll down so I can read our solution whilst... Fish. Bread. Cheese. Carrot. beat pumpkin. Victory! Alright, Welly, what was the rule that I'm supposedly not understanding? Educate me. The missing rule is that carrot left of pumpkin leads to bread plus cheese block cannot occupy the right 3 blocks. Bread is 1 space away from carrot. The missing rule is carrot left of pumpkin leads to... I want to actually read this and then see if we can... Pumpkin leads to bread plus cheese block cannot occupy the right 3 blocks. Bread is 1 space away from carrot. Which means pumpkin is right aligned and bread cheese is left aligned. Ergo, we can assume fish, bread, cheese, carrot, beet, pumpkin. I don't see that, so let's read that a couple of times and see if we can get it. The missing rule is carrot is left of pumpkin, leads to bread plus cheese, cannot be in the 3 right blocks. So if we go back to our... Well, first let's go to the save point and declare this segment over. And then I will analyze the rest of this between the next segments. Though on stream. On stream, but not on video. Save! Join us next time for hopefully not another one of these puzzles. Or at least one with more easy to convert into logic rules on our search for Mr. Moon.